executive now say they have removed him. So did you see this coming at all? And what does it portend?
Oh yeah, I saw it. I saw it coming. One of the reasons why some of us left the party was because of some of the decisions that was reached by the National Working Committee under this chairman. The truth be told, you know how I was very vociferous for the PDP. You know how passionate I have been for the PDP. And apart from being passionate about the PDP, I have been one person that stood for the party at a time that the APC. Iyochayu, I will say, has been one of the most controversial chairmen we have had in a very long time in my former party. Why do I say this?
Yeah.
There were so much negotiations between the G5 governors, between the Iyochayu, between the leadership of the party. They needed the zoning arrangement to be properly respected. And in all said and done, it was as if the PDP was tailored towards an end, not to win an election. They were on this. But this is a fallout of those decisions that were taken, which culminated into his being suspended by his ward. So he's going to also go by the way of the same banana peel that most of the PDP chairmen have gone. That's eventually what is going to culminate to. Because even if you say these governors that are fighting are outgoing, some of them have been able to install successors who will pander to them and protect the interests of their predecessors moving forward.
Oh, I see. Well, thank you, Ken. For a while there, the sound sort of dropped out and then came back on again, and it was a substantial chunk of time. But maybe it'll come back out what you said at that time when we look at it. So where do you see the when this kind of a thing is going to happen, it has to go and happen back at the ward executive, right? So that's why. And then it will be ratified, if it will, by higher bodies. That's the way it goes, right? Because we're hearing now that he's been suspended. Is that done and dusted, or does it still need ratification?
Well, the truth about it is, for the position of chairman, some would argue that he cannot be suspended by his ward, because the Constitution will say that the chairman should be referred to the National Executive Committee, National Working Council, then the National Executive Committee of the party. But the ward, everybody belongs to the ward in a party. So the ward is the most powerful organ, which was actually exhibited even in the case of Adam Soshomole in the APC. Yes, the constitution of the APC and the PDP are not exactly the same. The PDP is quite different. But the thing here is that 12 members out of 17 members of his ward have passed a vote of no confidence on him. And so what it therefore means is that it has to be ratified by the state's working committee, which will now transmit it to the national body. And if you look at the national body, the NWC seems to be divided. If you're talking about those who did anti-party, almost everybody in the PDP would be guilty of anti-party. And so it will be very difficult for them to make a case for a select few, just like what Payosanyim said, that why did they go for soft targets when the likes of Governor Wike openly said they were not going to work for the party. Sheyi Makinde said they were not going to work for the party as long as Ayu remained the chairman. I thought what the party should have done now, in my own opinion, would have been to go on a soul searching, ask themselves, where did we go wrong? We have to go back to the drawing board. But they went into a volley of suspension. Even in the state chapters, you find governors who even won elections already revenging on those they perceive that they didn't work for the party. How do you find unity? What kind of government are you also trying to establish for those who are going to take over from you? You are only going to give them a divided party and a divided house. I mean, a house divided against itself can never stand, and that's the principle of natural rules. So the fact that the PDP has got it wrong it's very obvious. The National Working Committee would need to go back to his drawing board at this rate. But looking at what has happened now, it's going to be suspension galore.
Now, well, as I just said, and you yourself have spoken about it, you used to be very passionate. Maybe passionate is passionate. There's no need for very. You used to be quite passionate about anything PDP. And I remember back in the day, we used to say something like, proudly so, proudly PDP. Now, you just said something good. Help me understand it a bit. You say, look, if the authorities within the party want to go down that route of anti-party activities, yes, I know you were being a bit hyperbolic, but you said that just about everybody would fall under that particular act. Help me understand that.
Okay, what I was trying to say is, for example, Anyi will tell you he worked for the governorship candidate for the APC in Ebonyi. Wike worked for Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Makinde worked for Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is the APC president-elect. Now you go to Benue, Autumn worked for the Labour Party candidate, Peter Obi. And even in Delta, you find that most of the PDP chieftains worked for Peter Obi, and even the APC also worked for Peter Obi. But you see here, 18 local governments, if I use Delta as an example, were won by Peter Obi. And the governor, who was the sitting vice presidential candidate as at that time, won only 7 local governments and a sitting governor. That is how much of anti-party activities did go on. And you can only blame the leadership of the PDP for all this. You can't blame those who decided to go that route. For me, I left the party. Not everybody could have been like me, who said, look, I can't stay within the party when I disagree with the party on certain principles. I left the party and I decided to voice my opposition to certain people that were chosen during the primaries, not only in the presidential, which I thought should have come to the South, but also in the National Assembly primaries that were done. I had cause to actually term my governor as an emperor, and some people said, oh, that was a very harsh word to use. And I thought it wasn't harsh at all, because as at that material point in time, no reason was going to be given for them to understand that a time of reckoning was going to come when they will account for some of the decisions they took during the primaries when they were playing God. And that's the fallout of why these anti-party activities did go on. I don't think PDP has ever been this divided, has ever been this disunited. It was political anarchy, as one of my leaders described it. That's exactly what has happened in the PDP. I wonder if PDP can ever pick up the pieces together if they're not careful, because we already have a very strong third force and a third party and a movement, which is the Labour Party. And so people might see that as an alternative now to the PDP.
Well, you're saying that PDP could actually be in danger of imploding itself.
Not even in danger, it's almost going on self-implosion. That's exactly what is going to happen. If we can't unite the House, we'll destroy the House. Have you ever seen where governors openly worked against their party and are proudly saying it, and leaders of the party? Anyim was the former Senate president, and he said it. He said because in his own case, he's kicked against the governorship candidate that was imposed on the PDP, who did come from the same zone as the governor. But all his appeals fell on deaf ears. And so he had no other choice. Just like what I also told you in Delta, where I said our governor acted like an emperor during the primaries of the party. You know, you can never have it your way. You should be able to allow some people, you should be able to give some. You can't take all the decisions yourself. You can't bring the governorship candidates, the deputy governorship candidates, the House of Assembly candidates, the National Assembly candidates. You can't be a Mr. Know-it-all. You must also give room to some other people to be able to make some choices or allow free and fair primaries. You see, the problem here, Okuyori, is that if you don't allow internal democracy to fester, this is exactly what you get when internal democracy doesn't fester. Now, what they're doing in Delta, for example, is that they're compiling names of those who they think have done anti-party, those that they've given appointments that they're relieving them of their appointments, those that they think that they have been having government patronage, that witch hunting them because they say they did not work for the party. But that should not be the case. They should rather go on a reconciliation mood at this point in time. They're soul searching, because like I always say, and I've always proved right, what they're doing is going to eventually implode the party. It's going to make people angrier and will certainly cause them a lot more harm in future. They shouldn't forget that a lot of people are also in the tribunal.
Exactly. your party is in the, your former party, PDP.
My former party.
Yes, I quickly corrected myself. Your former party, through the presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar, is in the tribunal. As we also know, so is the candidate of a Labour Party. So there's so much going on. I don't know. Atiku still had something of a decent showing. It just wasn't enough to make him win. So the point I'm seeking to sort of bring forward there is that he still was able to conduct, some sort of a campaign, and as you know, he came second. So it's where does the party look now? What happens now? Is there a sense in which the presidential candidate of the party can come in and prevail? Do you think he can make a difference on all of this? Because
well, the thing about it is that the presidential candidate of the party remains the leader of the party. And so what he was supposed to do is to rein in on these party officials at this time. This is not what he needs at this time. You don't need to start thinking of suspending people, expelling people, taking some very drastic decisions. What was he actually thinking? I actually think he did a lot better than a lot of people think he would have done, just like you rightly said. Where you have 5 governors that are not working for you, you had some governorship candidates that were also not working for you, who were loyal to those 5 governors. And you also had people who were disenchanted. You had a very strong vice presidential candidate who had left for the Labour Party. You had Kwakwansu who had left for the NNPP. There was no way PDP would have thought it was going to be a roller coaster for them. Do you understand? I think Bola Tinubu owes it to, especially Peter Obi and Kwakwansu, a lot of gratitude for his victory too, because it might not have been like that if they had stayed with the party. Even if Nigerians wanted an alternative to APC, they didn't give that unity of purpose to fight the APC government. And so what Atiku is supposed to be doing at this point is supposed to be acting as an alternative government, in the sense that, oh, if I was the president, well, what would I have done differently? Now I'm at the tribunal. First, let me heal my party. Let me forgive. Let us move forward. Let me call those who have been disenchanted. If you start pushing them out of the party, people have seen that they have alternatives now. Look at what Labour did. A lot of people won elections under Labour Party with the bandwagon effect of Obi's popularity. And today, a lot of people are looking at it that, look, if we all come and strengthen the Labour Party, PDP will not now be the second or the alternative party that we have. So he's the presidential candidate who is the leader of the party that should take the bull by the horn and stop this drift that is or implosion that is staring at the party.
Now, of course, it's difficult to quite frankly see clearly where this will lead to, especially as the presidential candidate of PDP is busy at the moment. I'm talking about, his case before the tribunal, and just where this is, because it just might, we said that before, it just might be and I'm sure they must be listening, they must be also understanding that it just might be the end if we're not careful. Because if it becomes so mucked up that it's not attractive to anyone anymore, whatever happened, that you decide that, you know what, guys, I'm just going to take my leave. So that was without bitterness, without acrimony, I would imagine. Okay, that expression there, do you want to expatiate on that? I just took it for granted that it was without any acrimony. I just wanted to take that for granted, but before the bottom fell out. Because if it had been now, we'd say, was this part of the reason? But since you made the move before, go on, Ken.
Okay, yes. The thing about it is, it's very clear that there's so much acrimony, there's so much bitterness, there's so much bad blood. From when they did the zoning, from when Secondus left the seat, Iyocha Ayu came in. I remember then I served in 3 of the committees. I was in the publicity committee, I was in the electoral committee, and I was also in the accreditation committee. And I played a very active role in that convention. A lot of the governors did not think that at a material point in time, Ayu was not going to maybe do their bidding. And they also saw it too from the perspective that, oh, the presidency was naturally going to come to the South. article now emerging was sort of something that they did not envisage because they thought they had taken charge of the party and they were sure that what they wanted was going to happen. I'm looking at it objectively from the view of an analyst. But when they found out that IU was not playing to their tune, they got upset and they said IU had to go. And IU also should have understood that being from the north and a presidential candidate coming from the north, it was only natural that they were going to have to hold on to that. If I was IU, I could have maybe made myself the sacrificial lamb. Yes, Atiku thought it was IU was not the target was him. But if IU had left, they would not have given these governors the reason to continue to say, look, we're going to work against the party.
That's right.
And again, my governor, as at that time, who was chosen as the vice presidential candidate, was seen as an opportunity. People saw him as an opportunist who took advantage of that situation and became the vice presidential candidate instead of sitting on the Asaba declaration that they had agreed on that the presidency was going to come to the South. And so there was a backlash in the South against him. And it showed that the elections, because as the chairman of the South-South Governors Forum, Akwa Ibom held on to winning the elections for the PDP. Bayelsa held on. But Delta capitulated, Edo capitulated, and also Cross River. And Rivers was for APC. So you can't pretend that all is well.
Okay.
All is not well.
Ken, one moment, please. Let me bring on our first caller, Mr. George, calling in from Ikeja. Good morning.
Good morning, Uncle Yori, and greetings to Ken, too. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Uncle Yori, nature has just made it possible because it is time for a president like Tinubu to emerge in Nigeria. If you look at the scenario, Uncle Yori, before the splittings in the PDP, before the time Obi was with them, Kwanso was with them, and all of them were together. They didn't play an opposition that is worthy of his name. All we hear is they will just get in power. Just accusing them and saying uncomplimentary things is not what they call opposition. Opposition is about critiquing a situation and offering an alternative to convince the people that if they were to give you the chance to do it, you will do it better. We didn't see that when they were together. Is it now that they are in pieces that they will do that? You can see that even the presidential candidates of the PDP that eventually emerged in contravention with their own rules could not put his own party together. If you cannot unite your own party, how can you unite Nigeria? And you say you are a unifier. That is the nickname they gave him. If you cannot unify your party, how do you unify Nigeria? So what is coming up now is their own making. As for whether a third force has emerged or not, I don't see it like that. If you check the situation on Kuyori,
yes,
you see that after the presidential election, the Obi movement instantly, decimated. Many of the followers got to know that, no, this is not, what we are seeing is not what we were told. It's like what we were told is not the agenda of the promoters. And already it's fizzling out. I don't see it sustaining because there is no genuineness in the volition behind it. So we still need a strong opposition. A government that has no opposition is likely to do whatever it likes. We need an opposition, and I will be happy if the PDP can still put itself together in strong opposition. But we need to undergo a lot of revolutionary changes, which I believe these G5 governors might be able to bring about. I see a situation where the G5 governors will have an upper hand. The good, let me use the word, the good people in the PDP will take it over and form a relevant opposition. That's what I can see. Good morning.
Thank you very much for calling in, Mr. George. Ken, as I'm sure you'll agree, a viable opposition is quite essential to any democracy.
Very important. Very important. I don't agree with George. He couldn't have said that the PDP didn't offer a viable opposition. At least I'm sure you bear me witness that you can't count how many times I was in your studio where I made it very clear and obvious that the government of President Buhari had failed on the three mantras that they promised: security, corruption, and the economy. I can't go on and on about the things I said about the misery index, about inflation, about unemployment. I was not alone in that as a member of the PDP. We had other people who spoke very strongly against the policies of the government of the APC. He couldn't have said there was no viable opposition. What happened was that the PDP took a very terrible decision when they decided that they were not going to zone the presidency to the south. And that left some of us quite disappointed who have been members of the party. And especially for those of us who now went back to our state and also saw what, for me, the governor did in the primaries of the party, it's culminated into my saying that, no, I was going to part ways with the party. That doesn't change the fact that the PDP has been a viable opposition. Yes, the PDP can seem to be in pieces now. I have been a member of that party. Maybe I'm a bit more sentimental towards the PDP more than I'll be to the APC. But the truth about it is that they can still pick up those pieces together. And for saying that the labor movement has fizzled out, I disagree with him. He should have known that Peter Obi joined the labor movement 3 months prior to the elections. And so there was no magic he was going to do to install governors in those states. The fact that he was able to get to the nooks and crannies of almost everywhere in Nigeria for someone who said that he did not have structures should be highly commended. He has a governor today, one in Abia State. You must start from somewhere. Buhari started from taking Nasarawa. He had the CPC governor there. And from there, he joined forces and eventually became the president of Nigeria. So do not wish away the Labour Party. I strongly disagree with George on those analysis.
Okay, let me bring on Reverend Dominic. Good morning to you, Reverend, and thank you for holding on.
Good morning, Chief Yori.
Good morning,
and good morning to my friend Ken there.
Yes.
Morning. Ken can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay. Now, Yori, the laziest opposition I've ever seen in my life for about 40 years in politics is PDP. Let Ken tell me the position in insecurity in Nigeria, on the economy of Nigeria. Let Ken tell me what PDP said when we Column Naira that put us in this mess. In all the weaknesses of APC, which I belong to, anyhow, when APC was going the way around, I was so afraid. If we have a position we have in 2011 by APC against PDP, Nigeria will not give one vote to APC. Because APC makes a lot of things. Truth must be told. But PDP were lazy in the opposition. And let me say this again. The problem of PDP, the major problem, is Atiku. Now he's in Dubai. He has caused the war. Now, Ado has gone. He has went back to his company in Dubai. By 2026, he will show up again. And that's the problem of Kane. That's most of our problem. A man loses an election and run away. He wouldn't care how to build a party and give some opposition. And he will run away, come back to contest election. Until they change that attitude, PDP will do nothing. And it bothers my heart that today, too, I don't know whether Labour will give nice opposition by the way Labour is fragmented. Truth must be told. Labour is not a party. It's a movement of one man. That's the truth. A party must come together, have their structure together in order to present a strong opposition. Labour may not do it. Lastly, if my friend George thought that thought force is a mirage, he has to look again. Thought force is not to be. Thought force is the problem of Nigeria of bad governance. So whether even my own president candidate elect, it's part of that thought force. Because people is part of bad governance. So bad governance is the thought force. It will not be soon overnight. It will continue being stronger. Because everywhere in Nigeria is in the thought force to see that we have good governance in this nation. So George must wake up his sleep that thought force has come to stay. Good morning, Nigerians.
Thank you very much, Reverend Dominic. Well, Ken, I don't know. You are a former member of PDP at a very, senior level. Are you still I mean, would you like to offer some sort of response to what?
Yes. I will. I'll respect my former party, and I'll offer some response. It's so unfair that Dominic would say that the PDP was lazy. The PDP wasn't lazy at the time. Secondus actually apologized on behalf of PDP for some of the things that were done in the past, and I think that was actually statesmanly for him to have offered an apology. The PDP was rolling on the coast to victory until those wrong decisions were made. People make mistakes, so Dominic cannot now come and crucify PDP completely because of those mistakes that were made. Yes, of course, we're totally disappointed in those mistakes. We were shattered. For me, I just didn't want to even continue with politics. Just the struggle to represent my people was what kept me on. If not, I would have quit politics with those decisions. But that doesn't mean that you now come and say that the PDP was lazy. The PDP was not lazy. The PDP continued to offer. Maybe, okay, we didn't have a Lai Mohammed. Maybe that is what he's trying to say. With your apologies.
Okay, then. I just leave that for now. In fact, thank you very much. I didn't know how to, I don't quite know how to take that. But what we'll do, Ken, I'll take a quick break so that we won't keep on interrupting you and the callers. We'll be right back. So please stay with us.
In the month of March, on the 3rd is World Wildlife Day. On March the 8th is a day set aside as International Women's Day. March 13th is Commonwealth Day. And March 21st is the day dedicated to the elimination of racial discrimination, and also World Down Syndrome Day. World Water Day is on the 22nd. And March 24th is World Tuberculosis Day. While March 25th is International Day of Remembrance of the Victims of Slavery. Finally, on the 28th of March, it's 1 year remembrance of the Abuja-Kaduna train attack. Brace yourself for an interesting March, only on TVC.
Every major news story is with many perspectives and layered with different levels of impact.
Hello. What TVC News? First with breaking news.
Lagos is the most visited state in Africa as the 5th largest economy on the continent. Covering the state and its government is no mean feat, it's a busy beat. We go beyond the curtain of tapes to travel in far into the deep.
I want to thank the Lagos State government for the healthcare facility.
To bring stories that cut across all spectrums.
A greater Lagos shall be ours.
We tell you stories that define our collective well-being as Lagosians. I'm Adedoja Salamadini. I live in Lagos, inside Lagos.
Okay, welcome back. And we're looking at the crisis that has befallen the PDP. It's just announced that its national chairman, the process for his suspension has begun. And so we wait to see how all of that goes. His world exco has indeed suspended him. We have Mr. Lukman in from Ghana, who is waiting to join the program. Good morning to you, Mr. Lukman.
Good morning, Uncle Yori. Happy New Week.
Indeed, same to you.
I think we should thank God that PDP did not win the election. We could see the reason why PDP were not able to do anything in 16 years. It was because of their arrogant attitude. If we don't eradicate people leaving their party, what is the ideology or tradition of a member being a member of a political party? In Ghana, yes, there was a time some of their chairman, the chairman of the party, the secretary, they had a problem with NPP, and they stood with the party, they campaigned for the party, You need to solve your problem within the party. Not that you are leaving the party today or you are working against your party. That's unfair. And look at what is the benefit. And today, after election, a competitive democracy. If we have a strong government, we must have a very competent opposition. And that's what one of the first callers was saying, that the PDP are so lazy. We didn't even see their action as a strong opposition. And things need to change. They need to put their house together and be able to be a strong opposition against the new government coming in. So that's my question.
I want to thank you very much, Lukman, for calling in from Ghana. Guest still with us is Mr. Ken Okolugbo, public affairs analyst. He's a former PDP campaign council member, and he's also served as a commissioner in Delta State. Now, as to that particular, let me have your commentary on, look, maybe it was because of the way his removal was asked for, or whatever the reasoning. The chairman of PDP, I think a governor had said that he has to go, but that didn't happen then. He didn't listen. Neither did the presidential candidate listen. So, if this was going to happen anyhow, now what the governor or the governors that were asking for his resignation wanted has now happened, and this really leaves everybody of substance within the PDP in something of a quandary.
No, but Uncle Yori, you should know that there must be a reaction from the National Working Committee, the members that are backing you. They're definitely going to distance themselves from that suspension. They're going to play down on it. They're going to tell you that it holds no. The governors that are behind this suspension will then move to the next level of beginning to try to take over the party. And you know how it always turns out. One court action to the other court action. This court will pronounce that Ayu is no more the chairman of the party. By the time they get to the appeal court, remember all we went through with McAfee and Sheriff before they went to the issue of Secondus. I think Secondus, I don't know what happened to Secondus' case at the Supreme Court. So the truth about it is that is a PDP that is going to lose completely. Because if you look at, I pointed it out when I was still a member of the PDP just before I left, that the G5 governors are also going to hurt themselves. Autumn didn't win his senatorial bid. He has also lost Benue State to the APC. Ogunwayi didn't win his senatorial bid. He barely survived to the attack from the Labour Party and got his governorship candidate. He has lost completely. He lost the senatorial seat and also lost his state to Labour Party. So if you look at the G5 governors, only Makinde can stand tall. But Makinde is standing tall at an expense of having 3 APC senators, which might eventually come back to haunt him, and having most of the members as APC House of Rep members. Because when you tell your party to vote for another candidate, especially when the candidate is not in sync with you, it's boomerangs. It also has its negative effect on those actions that you're going to take. But where do you lay this blame on? I still lay the blame on the leadership of the party, especially the presidential candidate who was the leader of the party. But that is not to say the PDP didn't also make their gains. As a public affairs analyst, I must also point out that Zamfara had a sitting APC governor who left the PDP to the APC, Matawale. He was defeated and he has accepted defeat. So that means that governor is not going to even go through the rigors of having to defend himself at the tribunal.
Ken, one moment, please. I beg your pardon for interrupting you. I don't want to lose Maxwell, who has called in from Port Harcourt and is waiting. Good morning, Maxwell.
Uncle, very good day to you.
Good morning, sir. Thank you very much for calling in and holding on. Please go ahead now.
Okay, one of your callers said that Labour Party is not a force, but it's dependent on one man. Can you hear me, Uncle?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Now, I want to tell the person that Awolowo was one man. I was able to unite the Yoruba ethnic group. He was a movement of his own. And if he's saying that Obi is not a movement, I cannot be a third force. then I wonder what Awolowo did for Yoruba nation.
Okay.
And secondly, the Labour Party, to me, won the presidential election. How do you know how people win elections? Look at Osun State. When they called Adeleke, people rejoiced, they are ecstatic. Look at Abia State, when they called Labour Party, people rejoiced, they were ecstatic. Look at Buhari's first tenure, when he was called a winner, people came out rejoicing, thinking that he would do magic. Unfortunately, he didn't do anything. That's how you know the temperature of people who won elections.
Yeah.
But shake various states.
I hear you, but Maxwell, I think it needs saying that Labour Party did not win the election. APC. No,
I understand.
Okay.
ANEC did what they did and said APC won. No problem about that. I'm not doubting that. As you said, I mean, somebody have been named president-elect.
Okay. All right then. Okay, thank you for calling in. Ken, again, I'll come to you for a reaction to his position.
Well, the truth is that the Labour Party is already in court. They are the tribunal. It is the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court that will take that decision. But like I said in Delta, for example, I maintain that Peter Obi's votes were more than what he got, so the elections were fraught with a lot of malpractices. I participated in that process. I was a candidate, and I'm also questioning the process in the tribunal. INEC has a lot of improvement to make, especially for the presidential elections, where the results were not uploaded in real time. And apart from uploading the results in real time, from ECAT, a lot of them were tampered with. But all that will be sorted at the tribunal at this material point in time. The good thing about it is that the two leading candidates in opposition, Atiku Abubakar and Peter Obi, has chosen to go to the tribunal. They didn't call out Nigerians to go on the streets. So what it behaves on us is to put pressures on the judiciary for them to do the right thing. If the judiciary decides to do the right thing and they see the infractions, then they can boldly take their decisions. And but as it stands now, Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the president-elect and will be sworn in on the 29th of May. There's nothing anybody can do about that. That is the truth about it. And going into what he actually said about the aesthetics in terms of rejoicing, yes, that I might agree with him. Is a point when people take their decisions. But unfortunately, most of the people that did come out to vote did not come out to vote in the governorship election because it was voter apathy. Indeed. A lot of people felt that they were disappointed, and so the turnout was not the same way it was at the presidential election.
Okay, let me bring on Mr. Balogun calling in from the UK. Hello, Balogun.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yori.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for calling.
Yeah, Uncle Yori, we don't have to give ourselves on this discussion about PDP. One, PDP themselves, they shot themselves by the foot. That is by the way. But to your last caller, having Obi and comparing Obi with Awolowo, I think it's a miles away. We need to correct that with the last caller. Obi is a movement. Awolowo was not a movement. At least we have been here now for another 6 decades. But to come to the point of PDP, there is one man that I think is Dominic that said that we don't have a good opposition. Number one, the gentleman there, Ken, he tried his best as a young man to be a very vibrant person. It's unfortunate what happened to him. I don't know what happened to him. I've not seen him on TV for a very long time. But I'm happy to see him this morning. Thank God I'm off today. I get you. Look at what we have in UK here. That is what they call opposition. They will condemn and they provide a solution. But in their case, sometimes they just condemn. Nothing. That's not opposition. Let the people know that, look, this thing is wrong. This is what you need to do. And many times I've offered a solution. We need to be clear about it. He's my very good person. I like following him, but I don't know that he has problem with PDP. People like this are the ones that we need to bring on board.
Yeah.
I'm not a party man, but I had my soft spot for Tinubu. I have to say this. But the PDP, they need to sit down. If it means that they need to overhaul everything about PDP, even Wike is one of the problems. They will bring in this. If it doesn't favor them, they throw them out. They will bring this. If it doesn't favor them, they throw it out. It's not politics. That is not politics. Yeah, we know it's of interest. But if not every time you want your interest to override others. Even this president, Ayu they're talking about, who brought Ayu on board? It was them that brought Ayu from Makarufi all the way to Ayu. But the game boom around because the game was that if Ayu is there, we from the start will have our way. Not knowing that Atiku has his own agenda. And Atiku has been beating Wike to it several times. He beat him the last time in Port Harcourt. He beat him again. So they need to watch out.
Okay.
And again, lastly, sir, it's like you are not giving us in that manner an opportunity to speak with you. For 2 weeks now, I've been trying to get your line. It's not always possible.
Oh, well.
So thank you very much. Have a lovely day, man.
Indeed. Thank you for continuing the efforts to connect with us. Okay, so again, the point being made, I think you heard the point being made, Ken, and
yes, I heard the point. The caller, he cut it succinctly because the truth about it is you must offer an alternative. And that is what the PDP does not have now in terms of having that spokesman who comes from with that NOE segment 2 or a kind of, I can't remember, late PDP spokesman from when they speak. At this point in time, what they had in the presidential campaign council, I found it strange that they took a spokesperson who had just left the APC and become their spokesperson. What does he have to say about the PDP? What does he know about the PDP? He would spend time defending all he has said about the PDP, the way he has condemned the PDP. Before a program rounds up, you will have only a few minutes to talk about the PDP. Like he's rightly said, the PDP has to do a soul searching. Yeah. They have to overhaul the PDP. They need to go on a healing. They need to go on reconciliation. They need to go and beg those they've offended. They need to get the party together and not suspending people. It's not the right way to go about it.
Just like Balogun said, virtually start from scratch, in his opinion. Let me bring on Miriam, calling in from Abuja. Good morning, Miriam.
Hello, good morning, Uncle Yuri.
Good morning, ma'am.
Yeah, I just listened to a caller from Port Harcourt, Maxwell.
Yes, okay.
And he likened, that when Buhari won, there was so much excitement. And the people who won by the level of excitement in the country. I want Maxwell to know that this time it was a three-horse race. And Tinubu had 37 or 39%, and the others had 30% each. I don't know the percentage. But what it shows is that more than half the people, of course, did not vote for Tinubu, but that did not stop Tinubu from winning. Tinubu won the election fair and square, so I find it very disturbing when I hear people say he did not win this election. I think what we have in the Constitution is either you win, the person with the highest vote cast has won this election. So when people come out, I've had this argument severally with my friends, when people come out and say, Tinubu did not win this election, I find it very laughable. Tinubu won this election fair and square, and we knew Tinubu was going to win because PDP did not have its house in order. We knew Tinubu was going to win when the 5 governors left. The time they had their governors together, they did not win this election. Is it when they came to this battle with a divided front, they expected to win this election? Tinubu won this election. I find it laughable when they say Peter Obi won. Peter Obi, for Christ, he came third in this election. How did he win this election? Yes, he might have a cult followership, Buhari did at the time, but with his cult followership, he couldn't win until we had this handshake from the West. So please, I don't want people misleading people. And the obedient people are becoming so, I don't understand what is wrong with them. You know, they did not win. Tinubu won. And by the grace of God, Tinubu is going to be our president. He is going to be sworn in on the 29th of May. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Miriam, for calling in and underlining that fact. Yeah, because when Maxwell called in from Port Harcourt, and I pointed it out to him that he was paraphrasing what Mr. Obi was saying, but as you've just said, Miriam, Labour Party came third, not even second. But then, as everybody is entitled to do, not just the third position in this particular contest, that is Labour Party, even that the next to the winner, both of them are in courts now. But as you've also underlined for us, and to be fair, Maxwell did say, oh yeah, but I think he was trying to say that, you know what they say, that was INEC. Well, as you said, thank you for underlining it. Tinubu won the election, and as you said, it is expected that he will be sworn in at the appointed date. So now, again, Ken, there you go. Somebody taking issue with this whole matter about trying to say anybody that, but the actual winner won this election. The actual winner, well known, apart from politicking, is Ashwaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Yeah, Miriam is very passionate. He's a passionate supporter of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. It's very obvious. But it's not about being passionate. The truth be told, INEC is the body that is in charge of conducting elections, and they have returned Tinubu as the winner. But she should also respect other people's opinion who think that Tinubu didn't win this election. That is their opinion. That is not the opinion of INEC. Exactly. So as long as it's not exactly said Tinubu didn't win. Let me.
Thank you, Ken. Let me quickly bring in Mazi Okoroa for Inarochukwu. Good morning, Mazi.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, I guess.
Good morning.
The crashing of the leading party, the opposition party, is something shaking. Shaking in the sense that within the circle themselves, right from the beginning, before the election, before the Jagaban came into the office as president-elect. Now, they had a crash. That crash they had, they refused to ratify the problems. That they were the causes of the problem, they were chasing the symptoms. That is why they have a very serious issue now. But the question now is, I agree that many heads are going to roll there. But the possibility of them coming back to office or coming back to power is very, very slim. Because when there is a crack in the house, what you have to do now is to bring down the whole house. Because if you are going to patch, you have a serious input because you don't know the patching area, what will happen to the other wing. So I will advise the party to do what? Go back to the basis, sit down, find out what caused the causes, and find out because the Jagaban has won the election. What we are waiting for, in short, it seems the mood should be running very fast. Because I don't know why this or that, the mood fast to me is delayed before we talk about the place. So let us sit down and watch what will be the outcome of the leading opposition party crashing. Good morning, Mazi Okoroa from Aruchuku. Good morning.
Thank you very much, Mazi. Okay, so Ken, okay.
If doesn't call into your program, it never ticks. He's been part of this program anytime I'm around, and I always enjoy his contribution.
Yeah, no, the program does have its core, audience. It's almost like the program was not complete if you don't hear from some people. Now, maybe I should spend, it's because you have knowledge relating to PDP. You've only just recently left them. But your party now, Accord, you won't want to go from frying pan into fire. So clearly you made the judgment that Accord was a much saner place to be politically, right?
Well, Accord was a relatively unknown party, but has won elections in Delta State. Yes, a lot of people expected I was going to join the Labour movement. But for some reasons, I didn't join the Labour movement. And I did a lot for the party in has ever been run.
Oh, you, even you yourself, you were doing anti-party when you were there.
No, I didn't do anti-party.
Oh, I thought you said you worked for the emergence of Mr. Obi.
No, I didn't say that. I said I ran a campaign. That is my own, not Obi's campaign. But let me tell you the truth,
sure.
Yori. Accord voted Peter Obi. PDP voted Peter Obi. APC voted Peter Obi in Delta. I always like to hit the nail on the head. If they come and tell you they didn't vote on it, most of them are lying. People bring fingerprints experts to check.
So all of that was going on.
But the thing about it was because they felt very disappointed with the decisions the sitting governor took. So Delta was a bit unique. Let me not dwell so much on that. Let it not be like I'm attacking my governor or it's a personal issue. Bola Ahmed Tinubu was a child of destiny. He was probably destined to achieve his dream of becoming the president of Nigeria. Because how would you have imagined that a Kwakwansu who is from Northwest will insist on becoming the president of Nigeria, knowing fully well that Buhari is from the Northwest? How would you imagine too that Kwakwansu refused to team with Peter Obi at the time? People thought if they come together, they'll be able to win the elections. Just imagine if Obi decided to now join Atiku at a particular point in time to say, look, let us all team together and face Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Their votes would have been over 13 million.
That's right.
And Tinubu would have been left. So I think I will describe Bola Ahmed Tinubu as a child of destiny who was destined at some point to be where he is today.
Indeed. And also bear in mind, which I'm not telling you anything new, Bola Ahmed Tinubu has been at it for over 30 years. The single-minded focus. It's just that not many people would have known, but those that do know that it's very hard to come into a thing, as it were, weeks to the event or even years, but over 3 decades. So I want to thank you very much for making the time for us, Ken Okolubo, formerly of the PDP. But this morning, we're looking at him as, a public affairs analyst. And just for the sake of full disclosure, he's now of Accord and not of the PDP anymore. Thank you once again, Ken, for coming on this morning.
My pleasure, Uncle Yori. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay, then, that's our program. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I'm Yori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.
Mommy, it is time for us to leave this place.
One of your earrings is missing.
No one will find it.
I'm not willing to take that chance.
I have a big plan, Mommy.
What do you want?
I want a senior position at the bank.
If anything happens to me, go through the content of this envelope and check every single thing.
It's done. No one will ever find out the truth.
Kano State is not just the commercial capital of northern Nigeria. It is the seat of an ancient kingdom that has thrived for more than 1,000 years. It's home to people with a proud and glorious heritage, a dynamic and thriving state. Let's take you on a weekly ride through Kano to see how Governor Abdullahi Ganduje is making steady strides through infrastructure development, education reform, quality and affordable healthcare, urban rejuvenation, human capital development, and more. Kano Spotlight, Friday, 9:30 p.m. on TVC News. There is always more to a story than the screaming headline. The part of a story